All right, everybody, welcome back to another deep dive.
Yes, hello.
And today we are diving deep into Discworld.
Yes.
Specifically, the first two books.
Okay.
By Terry Pratchett.
The Color of Magic and the Light Fantastic.
You got it.
Yes.
We have got a really cool review
nice.
of the Light Fantastic that we're going to jump off of.
Okay.
And really talk about how those first two books work together to kind of set the stage for the rest of the series.
Yes, and it is interesting because most of the Discworld books you can read in any order.
Yeah.
But these first two are kind of a duology.
Yeah, they are.
They're very closely linked together.
So we're going to talk about that.
Yes.
And just how funny these books
That's
are.
so hilarious.
So get ready to be turning some of those classic fantasy tropes on their head.
Exactly.
So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
The reviewer mentions a couple of different characters right off the bat.
All right.
And I think it's really interesting who they choose to highlight.
Okay.
So first we have Rincewind the Wizard.
Rincewind.
And he's not really your typical wizard.
No, not at all.
You know, he's not out
like a Gandalf or a Dumbledore.
Swinging spells.
Not powerful or wise.
No, in fact,
he's actually
the reviewer said that he was inept and cowardly.
Yes, singularly inept and cowardly.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah.
You've got this wizard who's kind of the main character. And he's running away from everything. He's not trying to be a hero. He just wants to survive.
It's kind of the anti-hero of the wizarding world.
Yeah, and that's what makes him so funny.
Yeah. And then we have the tourist.
Oh, you saw her.
With his luggage.
Yes.
And that is another...
The luggage is great. Oh, it's a chest that walks around on its own. It's got hundreds of little legs.
Yeah.
And it follows Two-Flower everywhere.
It's got teeth.
It's got teeth, yeah.
Bite people.
It's very protective of Two-Flower. That's its main goal.
So protective.
Protect him.
And you kind of get the sense that it's not just protecting Two-Flower.
Right.
But Two-Flower's money.
Yes.
Exactly. It's interesting.
That's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
The luggage is one of my favorite characters.
Oh, yeah.
In all of Discworld.
And one of the things that I think is so great is that you get... You start thinking about if your luggage could walk around.
What would your luggage be like?
Yeah, what would it do?
Yeah.
Where would it go?
What kind of personality would it have?
Yeah. And what would be protecting?
Yeah, would it be...
Would it be your snacks?
Yeah. Would it be a Louis Vuitton or like a beat-up old suitcase?
That's interesting to think about.
Yes, it is.
So something else that the reviewer mentioned that I thought was really interesting was how the Discworld kind of plays with those classic fantasy tropes.
Oh, absolutely.
And the way that the reviewer talked about it wasn't just like a slapstick kind of humor. It was like a really clever...
Exact. It's very witty. It makes you think.
Yeah.
You laugh, but then you also think, oh, that's actually a really interesting point.
Yes. And it kind of makes fun of those tropes.
Yeah. It's satirizing them.
In a way that makes you think about it.
Yeah. It makes you see them in a new light.
So one thing that the reviewer brought up was how Pratchett kind of touches on the tension between male and female magic users.
Oh, yes.
And this is something that really becomes more developed in later books.
Much later in the series.
Yeah, but he just kind of hints at it.
Yes, he plants the seeds in these early books.
In these first two books.
Yeah, and that's something that Pratchett does a lot, actually. He'll introduce an idea or a character in a small way, and then it'll come back later.
And become a bigger way.
Yeah, a really major plot point.
Exactly.
Or theme.
It's like he's weaving this tapestry.
That's a great way to put it. And you don't realize it at the time, but all these little threads are connected.
Yeah, you really...
And they all come together.
You have to read the whole series.
Yeah, to see the full picture.
To kind of get the full picture.
Yeah.
Something else that the reviewer mentioned that I thought was interesting was that they felt like Rincewind's character arc didn't really wrap up until the end.
Until the end of the second book.
Of the Light Fantastic.
Yes.
Which makes sense. Kind of solidifies the idea that there are two books.
They're really one story split into two halves.
Are meant to be read as one.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
The reviewer said that they enjoyed both books.
Okay.
But that the Light Fantastic felt a little bit more focused.
Right. I think that's a fair assessment.
Makes sense. If Rincewind's arc doesn't end until the end of the second book.
Yeah.
One more thing that I wanted to bring up that the reviewer talked about was the Unseen University.
Oh, yes.
And all of the wizards.
The wizards are hilarious. Yes. They're always scheming and plotting against each other.
Yes, and the reviewer even mentioned how much they love the wizards.
They're a highlight of the books for sure.
Yes, and I think they're so funny.
Yeah.
Because it's like this satirical take on academia.
Exactly. It's like, what if academics had magic?
Yes.
And could blow things up?
Yeah.
It's just chaos.
And it kind of makes you wonder, like, who's really running the unseen university.
Right. And are the wizards in control, or is the university controlling them?
Is magic controlling the wizards?
That's a good question.
It really makes you think.
Yeah, it does.
And of course, we can't talk about Discworld without talking about
Discworld.
Yes, the actual setting.
It's such a unique setting.
Is so
flat disc on the back of 4 elephants.
Yeah.
Standing on a giant turtle.
It's wild.
It's amazing.
And I love that the reviewer really focused on that.
Yeah, because it's so important to the books.
The setting really is.
Yeah, it's not just a backdrop.
Another character.
It's a character in itself.
Exactly.
It influences everything that happens. And it's just so imaginative.
Yeah.
I mean, who else would think of a world like that?
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
It's just so creative.
Yeah, so Pratchett.
So, yeah. In the end, the reviewer gave The Light fantastic.
Okay.
3 out of 5 stars.
That's pretty good for an early Pratchett book.
And I think it's because they were really acknowledging that it was kind of setting the stage for the rest of the series.
Everything else that comes, you see him developing his style.
Later in the series.
Yeah, his writing gets even better as he goes more.
So I think that's a really great point.
It's a good starting point.
Because it is a great starting point.
If you want to get into Discworld.
If you're looking to get into Discworld.
Yeah, these are the books to start with.
I would highly recommend starting with these 2.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up today, I just want to say we have been talking about The Color of Magic.
The first 2 Discworld books.
And The Light fantastic.
Yeah.
And they are so funny.
They're hilarious.
And they really make you think.
Yeah, they make you think about fantasy.
About fantasy in a different way.
And about the world in general.
Yeah, they're full of social commentary.
Yeah.
But it's always done with a light touch.
Yes, it's never preachy.
It's never preachy.
No, it's very thought-provoking.
Light and witty.
Exactly.
And I think we all need a little bit of that. So thank you for diving deep
into
Discworld with us.
It's been a pleasure.
And we will see you next time.
Yes, until next time.
We won't ever.